You want a luxury 4-seater performance car with all the modern tech. Look no further than this. A 2-year-old BMW M440i G23. And this week, lucky enough to take this on some of my favourite B roads and give it my review on what I think about this £60,000 440i. I can't wait. Welcome to this week's Fast and Fun. So the 4 Series is BMW's 3 Series Coupe. 3 models in the line. The G22 was the hardtop coupe. The G23, this one, is the convertible. And then there's the G26, which was the 5-door fastback, based sort of loosely on the sort of Audi A5 type of car. So this is the G23, that's the BMW code for it. Came in various engine sizes, both petrol and diesel. But this one is the, I'll call it the half M car. And it's what BMW have been doing for quite a few years. It's the stepping stone from the standard range of cars all the way through to the top of the range M Sport car, the M4. And this one sits in that middle ground called the M440i. This one powered by a 6-cylinder, 3-litre turbo engine with this mild hybrid system. The engine itself produces 370 brake horsepower and the same in torque, 370 pound-foot of torque as well. So it's got a bit of a monster engine in there, mated to a 8-speed automatic gearbox. They only came in autos, these cars. So really are sort of the grand tourers, as it were. The mild hybrid is mild because it only adds 11 brake horsepower to the performance, regenerated through the braking of the car. But it's not so much performance, this mild hybrid. This is about getting better miles per gallon, and it enables sort of the stop-start functionality to occur at lower speeds as well. So the mild hybrid is not really performance, it's all about the environment and the economy of the car. The 4 Series has largely came in either rear-wheel drive as standard or the 4-wheel drive, which BMW referred to as the X-Drive. All M440i's were X-Drive, so they're all 4-wheel drive by the nature. So this car comes in at a quite, the G23 being heavier because it's the convertible, the strengthening that's needed to keep the body rigid, even though they've moved back to a fabric roof from the previous generation, which was a hard folding roof, which apparently saves 40% of weight, but it still comes in at about 1900 kilograms. And that's heavy. But the performance stats look mightily impressive. The coupe's down in the low 4s for 0 to 60, and the G23 convertible, the M440i, is still in the 4s. It's sub 5 seconds, which is mightily impressive for a car that weighs not that far short of 2 metric ton. Let's do what I normally do. Let's take a walk around the car and pick out some of the features, including the white elephant in the room, the grille. For the last few years, BMW have been fitting this over-enlarged kidney grille that's caused much debate. First, people don't like change normally, me included. When it first came out, I thought, what the hell has BMW done? But do you know what? Now I've started to grow to like it. It is reminiscent of actually larger kidney grills, that sort of shape from the sort of 60s, 70s eras of BMWs. The front of the car, what I like is its aggressive nature. I think the BMW is always renowned for their shark look, and these headlights that go in with this protruding line going into the kidney grille gives it that angry, menacing look, especially offset in this black colour. And I just think when you look at it, it does look a really aggressive front end. A little bit less impressed, I suppose, like many manufacturers. They've put what appear to be vents, but these are all actually blanked off. There's nothing Although this vent here does actually feed cooling to the brakes, because you can see here where the cooling comes into the brakes, which incidentally 19 inches on this. The other observation, as well as the kidney grille, I think, is the first time you get up and close to one of these is the size of them. They are wide at about 6 feet, 1.8 metres, but it is the length, 4.7, 4.8 metres. These are super long cars. They're wide, they're even quite tall, and it's just a big mass. The bonnet's extremely long, but the look at the backside of this, again, because it's the G23 convertible, you've got the folding mechanism there, but it means the backside is really long. It feels like all this area is carrying way too much. It's just massive in dimensions, and that will be contributing to that 1,900 kilogram weight. And if you look down the side, there's not a lot going on to break it up. The subtle things you can see here, well, I'm not sure how clear the camera is picking up this slight ridge here, which just gives it a little bit of a hip there at the start, but the rest of it is pretty flat, apart from this one horizontal line that sort of peters out in the third quarter. There is a slight lip spoiler on the back, but it is very subtle. So the side profile, I don't particularly like the way it looks. If you look at the rear lights, reminiscent of the headlights at the front as well, they're angled, they go into that point, they give it quite a menacing look, and it's got the over-enlarged BMW symbol at the back because it actually incorporates the camera in it as well. And then if you look at the bottom, you've got it does look a little bit of a aftermarket cheap type of diffuser on there, and then the twin exhausts from sort of ground level, they look quite large, but when you actually look inside, the exhaust is actually quite a modest size. The back end I kind of like, pretty similar to the front end, but it's the side profile. Oh, by the way, these what appear to be sort of vents, giving the back again something to look at. They're all blanked off, so they appear to be serving no sort of purpose. But it's the side profile I'm not that. I don't warm to it. It's just a really big car. Again, 4 Series. This is the coupe version of a 3 Series. This feels bigger, longer, wider than the older 5 Series and even the 7 Series. It's just a huge car. Where it does score really well though is inside. The leather-clad seats, again heated. The head restraints have got warming air to go in, being the convertible. It's got heated steering wheel as well, all leather-clad. And the whole interior is very high quality. All the touch points are high quality. The whole cabin is plush and really, for me, feels premium to a 3/4 Series. If you motor the seat forward and you look in the rear, that passenger seat is in my sort of normal, typical position, and I could still sit just about behind, so certainly a modest adult in the back seats should have no problem. Headroom might be a little bit tight, and remember, it is a 2-seater car. There's no third seat belt, there's no third seats because of these cup holders here. There's ISOFIX as well, so for families with younger children that need ISOFIX, really easily accessible. And for those who want to carry adults or teenagers, they have their own sort of temperature control and also phone charging, which again is so important, I think, in today's society. Let's have a quick look under the bonnet. And it's in typical British weather, reviewing a convertible, and it's gone from glorious sunshine to speckles of rain, and with rain forecasts, it's never mind. Let's be positive. And then under the bonnet, again, the size of this bonnet is absolutely huge, and you can probably tell that because it's the first car I've ever reviewed that's got two catchers, one there and one there, probably because of the size of this thing. Most modern engines, just like this one, you can't see much. It's all buried under plastic shrouding. M Performance, it's not hiding what it is. And again, I don't know if these are on the coupes or not, but it may just be extra support because of the convertible nature of the G23. You've got to get, again, that weight transfer, that stiffness, that rigidity, because you lose it when you take the top off. So I'm not sure if they're standard or not on the G22, but again, BMW doing what they can do. And the engine is pushed quite a fair way back as well. So let me shut this gigantic bonnet, step away, and right, before the heavens open and it starts pouring with rain, let's take this on some of my favourite B roads. So when you get in the car, because it's obviously a two-door, you're greeted by a hand that appears over your right shoulder to pass you the seatbelt, which is great. What a beautiful place to be. It's keyless start, so just foot on the brake. And the little blip there is you start the engine. Yeah, really, really nice place to be. The infotainment system, all controlled using your keypad with a few hard keys. What I do like though is all your temperature stuff, heated seats, temperature, fan speed, both driver, passenger, rear demist, etc. That's all hard keys. It just means if you want to just tweak the temperature, it's really simple. You're not having to go through a complicated infotainment system digitally to just change the temperature or the fan speed, etc. So that's really, really easy to do. And the dials, you've got predominantly the speedo on the left, and it's not the traditional semicircular or circular dials. This is sort of reminiscent of a sort of a 3/4 of a hexagonal speedo, and then on the right hand side again a half or 3/4 of a hexagonal for the rev counter that is in reverse though, so it sweeps in a anti-clockwise condition, which is a little bit odd, but I suppose it's in keeping with keeping the centre part for your digital readout and your navigation, etc. This one, being the M440, comes with adaptive suspension, 3 modes. The default is comfort. You can pop it into eco mode, and then you can pop it into sport mode, which we'll do when we take it out on the road. Let's go off, and you'll join me on some better roads. First impressions, having gone through a couple of villages, is the pure quality of this cabin and also the size of it. The passenger seems to be sat way over to my left because it's so wide, and it's just, I cannot believe this is a 3/4 Series BMW. It really feels more like a 5 Series or 6 Series. It really is so big, but it's so quiet and so refined, albeit I've only gone 30-40 miles an hour. But the ride quality in comfort mode, which is the default setting, it's smooth, it's quiet. The engine will cut out when you're going downhill and coasting because of this light touch hybrid system. We're just going at 30 miles an hour. The revs are 1400 revs, so it's only just above tick over. Really quiet, really refined. And once we get to the speed limit just here, just as the rain starts, and just give it 3/4 acceleration, 40, 50, 60. Effortless, really. Within a moment you've gone from 30 to 60. Go through some of these sort of flowing A-road corners here. This car's got the heads-up display, works really, really well, gives you the rev count, gives you your speed and gives you the speed limit. And just as it goes through here, say maintaining at about 60 miles an hour, the revs are not even 2,000, so it's just tickling the engine really. And now I've lifted off going down this hill, the engine's cut out with that sort of hybrid system, just been able to, and that's all about that MPG, all about the economy. Incredibly refined. You really, really do think you're in one of the top end BMWs rather than a 3 or 4 Series. You really do. It defies it in here. The refinement of the car, and it does beg the question, why would you step up to a larger, something like a 6 Series, when this 4 Series does this so well? BMW always nail the driving position. There's a lot of electric movement, fore and aft, so backwards, forwards, up and down, rear incline. The steering wheel moves as well, again, fore and aft and up and down. And you can always get the perfect driving position. And you do, you sit low, the dash is up high. It really is a great driving position. And these seats, they've got the right balance. They're not 100% sports orientated, but they're not either 100% luxury. They've got that balance between both, and that's sometimes not an easy thing to do. You just feel that you could do 8 hours driving this car, get out at the other end and be as fresh as the first minute you sat in it. Roof mechanism won't be able to do it today because of the light rain, but it apparently takes 18 seconds only, which is pretty swift, I think, for a convertible, or certainly on par for the course, and it can be done up to 31 miles an hour, which is actually pretty fast, to tell you the truth. And having that fabric roof apparently saved 40% weight from the traditional hard folding roof that the previous generation had. With regard to storage in the car, as a daily usable car, you just flick the opening in the centre console, and you've got an area for 2 drinks and a charging point and a mobile phone holder. And in the door pocket, probably the largest bin I've ever seen. I don't know if it's for drink, I don't know if it's for money, cash. It's just a huge bin in the side door. I don't know how they've managed to get such a big bin in a door. Well, that's probably why the car's 6 foot wide. Apparently some of the noise is synthetic, piped in through the speakers. Well, that's okay, because it gives it a really deep drum, a real bass to the exhaust note there, and that was just in comfort. If I drop it into Eco, the dials go from the orange standard colour into a sort of a blue colour, and instantly the rev counter on the right now has been replaced by, it's hard to see, it's something obviously to do with the battery and regeneration of the battery, etc. But that's probably in keeping with Eco, because you're not really bothered about the revs in an Eco, because it's all about conserving fuel. It does feel big on the road, it does feel like a wide car. You're aware of the long bonnet and the big bum on it as well, so you're aware of the size of it. So just going along now, 30 miles an hour, and if I just give it a little prod there, drops down. Oh, that's instant gear change there, it really is. Oh, that was fast. It holds onto the gears really, really well. for a couple of sweepers here. Oh, that engine is mighty. It really is. And obviously you've got a little bit of assurance being four-wheel drive as well. So this is a nice bit of twisty road here. We're in Sport Plus. Just see how it takes this road. It's twisty, bouncy, off camber. Really will test a car. I'll go into manual. Knock it down. You just feel, yeah, turning's quite crisp for such a, really give it some now. Yeah, high in the revs, reaches peak power at about 5,500. The other thing to consider is prices, and although they start at about 60,000, and actually with a few tasty options on it, it's going to be 60 plus. The used examples of this, sort of 2-year-old cars now, can be had from as little as sort of low 40s. So suddenly there becomes a more strong, compelling case when you're only paying 40 something for one of these. Look at that, 6 straight into third gear, and suddenly you're at some serious speeds. I mean, that third gear, considering there's 8 gears in this gearbox, and the downshifts are a delight as well. Just to knock the gear stick back and it'll automatically put it back into just standard driving, and I imagine 99% of these cars will be driven in full auto all the time. More I've been driving this car today, more I've found out though that actually, although sport does make it entertaining, you need to be on it with the sport, and actually for everyday use the comfort setting seems to have the right balance. Because when you put it into sport, it's not just the adaptive dampers, but it's the steering, it's the way the engine holds onto revs and gearbox holds on and blips down on the down changes. But comfort as an everyday car, it seems to me as an everyday usable car, I think I'd end up driving around in comfort most of the time, because I think it just suits the nature of the car. So what's my summary of the M440i? Well, looks, I get, are an individual thing. I don't mind the kidney grille. In fact, I'm actually warm to them now. And the front and the rear of the car, I think, looks good. I just think from the side profile, it's a little bit too long. It's a little bit awkward. It's a little bit flat for me. It doesn't offer anything, doesn't look anything special. In fact, it just looks too big. So aesthetically, it's just not there for me. But inside, it absolutely makes up for it, and that's where you spend the majority of your time. The inside of this car is excellent, and everything you'd expect of a £60,000 luxury coupe or convertible. The size and weight, so it is long, but it's also wide, it's tall, and it's heavy. And they're all traits that generally would go against any sort of sports or performance car. But it's countered, that weight, by the engine and the gearbox. 370 brake horsepower has never felt better. It's potent. The pull from low revs, that wall of torque from as little as 1,900 RPM, it really does go really, really well. And mated to that 8-speed auto box, put it into sport, those gear changes are rapid, they're fast, and it is a delight to use, whether both in auto or in manual. One of the issues I've got with the M440 is it's almost too good. it's too stacked of technology. It's too digital. On the B roads, when I'm trying to push and trying to feel my way, and I lack confidence because the car just seems to be doing it all for me. I seem to be too far from the action. I can't really feel what the tyres are doing, what the wheels are doing, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's what more modern cars are supposed to do. Then you start pushing on some of these tight, difficult B roads that I'm on today, in certainly wet and slippy conditions, even though you've got the assurance of four-wheel drive, and you can feel the weight. The car's doing everything it possibly can, but there's no disguising it's a heavy car. So would I recommend this? Well, if you're into the driving, you'd want the M4. If you can't afford an M4, you get an M440i G22 Coupe. People that want the G23, the convertible, it's about the way the car looks, it's about open air driving, it's about GT cruising around. And for that, I applaud this car. I think it works really, really well. I mean, just feel the way that car accelerates there. And whether it's synthetic noise coming through the sound system, I don't care. Unfortunately today I've not been able to drive with the roof down, but this sounds like a coupe, it sounds like a hardtop. It's refined, it's comfortable. And if I was driving into Europe, wow, what a car. You could just imagine this car would eat distances whilst in extreme comfort. And it may not be the full M4, but it's a great car. And I've thoroughly enjoyed driving it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, please thumbs up, subscribe, stay tuned. Another video next week. Thanks for watching.